Hello and welcome to Unacademy IAS. In this session, let's have a look at the regulatory bodies that you need to cover for the exams. Before I start with the first one, there is a very important announcement. Unacademy on the 11th April is conducting Civil Services Championship for the year 2026. There are two slots for you to take up this test. One is at 11 a.m. and the second one is at 5 p.m. Those who are preparing for the civil services exams, do not miss out this opportunity. If you score very good number of marks, you can also win multiple rewards. Do not miss out. Register using the link provided in the description. Let me start. The first important regulatory body, Securities Exchange Board of India. This is a statutory body, but please understand, when it was actually set up back in the year 1988, there was no statutory status given to it. This was in fact recommended by a committee by the name GS Patel Committee. Based on the recommendation of GS Patel Committee, we set up this authority. But later, based on the Narsimham Committee recommendation, the statutory status was given with the passage of SEBI Act. Now, the composition of SEBI, the board consists of 9 members, and this is according to Section 4 of SEBI Act. The 9 members are chairperson, 2 members from the Union Ministry of Finance, 1 member from the Reserve Bank of India, 5 other members nominated by central government, with at least three being full-time members. This is the composition of SEBI. But more importantly, what is the function of this particular authority? Where does its regulatory role come into play in the economy? Anything to do with the stock market, anything to do. For example, participation of investors, right? Let's say any entity which wants to offer you certain security products or instruments in the market, all of those come under the regulation of Securities Exchange Board of India. It will monitor mutual fund investments or mutual fund issuance, etc. It will restrict any type of illegal practices that will be practiced by the companies in the market, those which are listed in the market. It will protect the interest of the investors by implementing multiple policies, restricting certain illegal practices by, let's say, the participants in the market, such as front running, etc. Regulate working of the stock exchanges, NSE, BSE, and it will also prohibit insider trading activity. So these are some of the very important functions of Securities Exchange Board of India. The headquarters of SEBI is located in Mumbai and it functions under the Ministry of Finance. It is the administrative ministry for SEBI. Now, the discussion associated with the regulatory bodies in India will be incomplete if you do not cover Reserve Bank of India. So in this particular area or in this particular video, I'm covering only the important points regarding RBI. But if you're writing any competitive exams, you will have to know the functions of RBI in detail. There is a separate video that I've done covering the complete banking chapter. If you are interested in understanding all the functions of RBI in detail, please do watch that. Now, Reserve Bank of India, it was set up based on the recommendation of Hilton Young Commission. The government back then introduced and passed RBI Act of 1934, and it is this particular RBI Act of 1934 which has all the provisions which will oversee the functioning of RBI. For example, the functions where the RBI is supposed to invest, what is the composition of Central Board of Directors, the role of RBI, everything is provided under the provisions of RBI Act of 1934. The most important part of RBI, the one authority which is the most important decision making authority under the Reserve Bank of India, is the Central Board of Directors, which has a composition of 21 members. It is chaired by the RBI governor. What are the functions of RBI? It is it is playing a very important role in terms of regulating money supply. That is the Monetary Policy Committee, which composes of 6 members. 3 of them are from RBI. The Monetary Policy Committee is headed by the RBI governor. And it is this Monetary Policy Committee which will basically take a decision associated with interest rate. So RBI will play an important role in terms of regulating money supply. It is a regulator of the banking sector. It is a lender of last resort. It is the banker to the government as well. It is the custodian of forex reserves. It is also under the Monetary Policy Framework Agreement, which has come into force since 2016 in India, is responsible for controlling inflation. And when I say inflation here, it is CPI headline inflation. The headquarters of RBI is located in Mumbai, and it is functioning. The administrative ministry for the Reserve Bank of India is the Ministry of Finance. Next important regulatory body, Central Pollution Control Board, CPCB. It is a statutory body which has been established in the year 1974. Initially, the focus of CPCB was to basically focus on the provisions under Air Prevention and Control of Pollution Act of 1880, or Water Prevention and Control of Pollution Act. Initially, the focus was that. Just make a correction here. Later, it has also been given the power, right? Basically, it has been entrusted with one more function, that is anything to do with respect to controlling the pollution, that is basically the air pollution. Now the responsibility lies with Central Pollution Control Board. I'm repeating this again. Initially focus was provisions of Water Act. Now it has been expanded to even cover, right, the provisions under the Air Act of 1981. It will coordinate the activities between the state pollution control boards and will provide technical assistance as well as the guidance to these particular boards. The composition of CPCB is that there are 17 members, chairman plus 5 members from the state boards, 5 representing the center, 3 representing agriculture, fisheries, trade or industry, 2 from the companies which are owned or controlled by the government, and 1 is the members. The headquarters is located in New Delhi and it functions under the jurisdiction of Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. Now, important functions. Please make a note of this. What are the important functions of CPCB? It will advise the central government in matters of what? In matters associated with prevention and control of anything to do associated with water and air pollution. Water and air pollution. It also has the responsibility to plan as well as execute the reforms or programs for preventing, controlling, or abatement of water as well as air pollution. It will, like I said earlier, will provide technical assistance as well as guidance to the state pollution control boards. It will coordinate the activities of the state boards and also resolve any kind of a disputes that will arise. And it will also focus on providing training. It will provide, right, let's say training programs for preventing, controlling air as well as water pollution for those persons who are involved in these kind of activities. So these are certain important points in the context of CPCB. Next one, Competition Commission of India. CCI, Competition Commission of India. This has been set up by the government based on the committee recommendation, that one, that is Raghavan committee recommendation. The Competition Commission Act 2002 basically leads to establishment of Competition Commission of India. Competition Commission of India. The Competition Commission of India has a composition of one chairperson and up to 6 members. And please make a note of the next point. The Competition Commission Act, there is one section, section 22, which basically mandates that there is certain amount of quorum requirement. What do you mean by the quorum here? What is the minimum number of people who are supposed to be present? The quorum requirement is at least 3 members to decide the cases. The Competition Commission of India, what kind of function does it do? What is the role of the CCI? It basically will try to protect the interest of the consumers in the market. For example, let's say there are mergers as well as acquisitions. And when the M&A, mergers and acquisitions, when M&A takes place, if a particular company gets a majority of the market share, gets a dominant position in the market, after getting the dominant position, is it abusing its dominant position in the form of, let's say, in recent times, there are certain allegations regarding the dominant position being abused by the companies such as Google, companies such as Apple, etc. So, whenever the M&As will take place, whatever actions will be undertaken by these companies after gaining a dominant position, if it is against the interest of the consumers in the market, that is where the Competition Commission of India will come into picture. It will prohibit anti-competitive behavior or the practices of the companies. It will prevent abuse of the dominant market positions. And please understand, before Competition Commission of India, there was one more authority, MRTP, Monopolies Restrictive Trade Practices, MRTP, which was set up under the MRTP Act. The focus of the MRTP was to ensure there is no monopolization in the market. It will prohibit any kind of activities that will lead to monopoly formation in the market. But the Competition Commission of India does not prohibit M&As, but it will basically ensure that after the dominant position is obtained, there is no abuse of it. Right? So, the regulation of mergers as well as acquisitions to prevent adverse market effects and conducting competition advocacy. These are some of the very important functions associated with Competition Commission of India. It functions under the Ministry of Corporate Affairs, and the headquarters of CCI is located in New Delhi. Now, next important regulatory authority, Insurance Regulatory and Development Authority of India. This is set up based on the recommendation of Malhotra Committee. Right, and in the recent times, there is a lot of discussion in the context of insurance industry. Please be very, very careful. It was the Malhotra Committee which recommended that just like we have regulatory authorities such as SEBI, we should also have a regulatory authority to oversee the operations or let's say the activities that are happening in the insurance industry. This recommendation actually led to establishment of IRDAI. So this was set up by the government of India in the year 2000. This was based on the IRDAI Act, which was passed by the government in 1999. What is the composition of IRDAI? It has a chairman, full-time members, that is a five, and a four part-time members. Generally, they will use the term up to right five whole-time members and up to four-time part-time members. The headquarters of IIDAI, please make a note of this. It is located, set up in Hyderabad, and this functions under the jurisdiction of Ministry of Finance. So what is the importance of IRDAI? What is the function of IRDAI? Please have a look at this. The functions of this authority are listed under Section 14 of the Act. 1 4, Section 14 of the Act. In a nutshell, any entity wants to offer you insurance products. They will have to be registered. They will have to get a certificate of registration from this authority. It will protect the interest of the customers or the policy holders. What do you mean by this? Let me give you a simple example from current affairs. From 2023, the IRDI, not the RBI, IRDI is worried about the mis-selling practices that are happening in the insurance industry. Lot of these insurance products are sold as a third party product from a banking sector or through a bank. But there are a lot of, let's say, complaints associated with mis-selling of the insurance products. So since 2023, IARDAI has been trying to implement certain policies which will restrict the practices of mis-selling. In fact, IRDAI or this authority also has been implementing a set of measures which is known by the name of Bima Trinity, so that By the time we get or we basically celebrate 100 years of independence, we will be able to have more penetration of insurance. We will provide grievance redressal, etc. Right? So protecting the interest of the policyholders, specifying the requisite qualifications, the code of conduct, as well as the practices, a practical training that should be provided for insurance agents, etc. So these are some of the very important functions of IRDAI. Now, in addition to this, there is also one more authority which focuses or which is more related to pension funds in India. PFRDA, Pension Fund Regulatory and Development Authority, which has started functioning from the year 2014 with the passage of the Act PFRDA 2013. Now, this authority is more focused on promoting old age income security by establishing, developing, and regulating pension funds. In a nutshell, a lot of people in India are worried about the income security after retirement. And these people, when they're working, they will invest a lot of money in pension funds. Lot of companies or the institutions are offering the pension fund instruments in the market. All of this comes under the regulation of PFRDA. Right? So pension funds will come under the regulation of PFRDA. The headquarters is located in New Delhi and functions under the jurisdiction of Ministry of Finance. Next important regulatory authority, FSSAI, Food Safety and Standards Authority of India. In the last 1 year, this regulatory authority has been in the news, has been criticized a lot. But for you, please focus on important points associated with this authority. It has been set up under the Food Safety and Standards Act in the year 2006. According to this particular act, any reference or anything associated with food safety and standards, anything, any matter that is associated. For example, you want to package a product and sell it in the market. You want to produce a biscuit and sell it in the market. So anything associated with the food products as well as the standards associated with the food products, everything will come under Food Safety and Standards Authority of India. Right? For example, in the last 1 year, there has been criticism regarding the lack of application or the oversight associated with lot of fake food products which are being sold in India. Multiple raids have been conducted by this authority. In multiple instances, the food has been confiscated. The sellers have been penalized by this authority, etc. Right? And very recently as well, very recently, in the Supreme Court of India, now there is a discussion associated with why can't we provide front of the label packaging, front of the right the packaging labeling. That is, whenever you purchase a packaged product, the nutrient associated with the composition, etc., everything is given in the back side of the packet. Why can't we basically flip the right, let's say, packaging? Why can't we put all of this information on the front side? That is being discussed, and it is this authority from which the views have been sought by Supreme Court of India. Anyways, so section 5 of that states that the food authority shall consist of chairperson and 22 members, of which, please make a note of this, one third shall be women. The functions of SSAI, that is a Food Safety and Standards Authority of India, licensing as well as registration of food business operators. You want to produce right any product that is a food product and you want to sell in the market, you will have to get a license from this authority. This is according to section 31 of the FSS Act of 2006 to address the issues of malnutrition in India. It also is promoting the concept of fortified foods. Fortified foods. But how do you distinguish between one food product which is not fortified and another one which is a fortified? This authority says that if any product is a fortified product, then use the logo plus F. Right? Use the logo plus F on the packaging so that the consumers will understand this is a fortified product. It also has launched a movement to promote the consumption of healthy foods, and that is Eat Right India movement. Eat Right India movement. So, apart from this, the headquarters of this entity or the authority is located in New Delhi, and it functions under the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. Let's move on to the next authority, NCLT, National Company Law Tribunal. In the last 1 week, there has been a lot of discussion associated with insolvency and bankruptcy code. When you talk about insolvency and bankruptcy code, one authority that will be at the center of the implementation of the IBC will be NCLT. First, the central government has constituted this authority under the provisions of Companies Act. Please remember, under the provisions of Companies Act, that is section 408 of the Companies Act. That is the precise reason the NCLT will function under the Ministry of Corporate Affairs. This is the important ministry which is associated with the implementation of the provisions of the Companies Act of 2013. Point number one. Point number two, initially, right, or before I go on to the second point, I said section 408 of the Companies Act, from which year the NCLT has been implemented, or the setup has been established by the government, from the year 1st June 2016. Initially, there were 11 benches. Subsequently, the government of India has expanded the number of benches under NCLT. Right now, please remember, there are 16 benches. Initially, there were only 11. Now, there are 16 benches. The principal bench of NCLT is set up in New Delhi. The role of NCLT is very simple. It will mainly function in order to ensure the IBC provisions are followed. In simple terms, when I say followed, insolvency and bankruptcy code that has been implemented. Under this, if a company has to undergo insolvency resolution, the entity which will accept the application will be NCLT. In addition to that, it is also involved in the mergers as well as acquisition proposals. But please understand, the NCLT benches will have judicial member as well as a technical member. This has been done in order to ensure that whenever these orders have to be issued by the entity or this quasi judicial body, we have to ensure that there is a certain member who knows how the market operates, who understand the technicalities of the issues which has come for the NCLT, or which have come to the NCLT. That's the reason it has a representation in the form of judicial as well as a technical member. Right. One more point associated with this: any appeal against the NCLT, the orders of the NCLT will go to the appellate tribunal, National Company Law Appellate Tribunal, NCLAT, and then finally to the Supreme Court of India. Next important authority, Telecom Regulatory Authority of India, TRI. Telecom Regulatory Authority of India. This has been set up with Parliament enacting Telecom Regulatory Authority of India Act in 1997. The most important function of TRI is to regulate the services and protect the interest of the service providers as well as consumers. For example, a new entry of a service provider has to be done or has to be allowed. It is a TRI. TRI will also ensure through multiple policies, measures, orders, etc., that you and me, who are the consumers of the telecom services, we are not hurt because of, right, let's say, activities of the companies which are providing the telecom services. Right? Earlier, please understand, earlier, even the dispute settlement was under TRI. The government of India amended and set up one more authority, the Telecommunications Dispute Settlement and the Appellate Tribunal, TDSAT. And it is this particular authority which has taken over the adjudicatory as well as the dispute resolution functions of the TRI now. So it is this authority which oversees the dispute resolution. Now, what is the composition of TRI? There is a chairperson, at least two whole-time members, not more than two part-time members. All of these are appointed by the central government, and these members will have a tenure of 3 years. The headquarters of TRI is located in New Delhi, and it functions, it should be very easy for you now, under the Ministry of Communications. So these are certain very important points in the context of TRI. Next, one more very important authority which has been there in the discussion for last 1.5 month. PNGRB, Petroleum and Natural Gas Regulatory Board. Right, this particular entity has been set up with the passage of PNGRB Act of 2006. The act has been passed. Under the provision, PNGRB has been set up. But please make a note of one very important point. Although looking at the name, which says a Petroleum and Natural Gas Regulatory Board, whenever you talk about the fuel, there is a upstream activity, there is a downstream activity. PNGRB is only involved in the downstream activities associated with petrol, gas, etc. It is not involved in, let's say, the regulation over the upstream activities. It is to protect the interests of the consumers as well as the companies. The board regulates, please have a look at this. The board regulates the downstream sector to ensure there will be a stable supply, and it will not focus or it is not involved in the crude oil natural gas production, that is upstream activity. It is associated with ensuring, let's say, gas is available, piped gas connections are provided, LPG is provided, etc. So it is not involved in the upstream, it is involved in the downstream activity. It regulates refining, storage, transportation, distribution, and marketing, specifically focusing on pipelines and city gas distribution. The headquarters of this entity or the regulatory body is in New Delhi, and it functions under the Ministry of Petroleum and Natural Gas. Next important regulatory authority, IFSCA, International Financial Services Centers Authority. Now, in Gandhinagar, Gujarat, there is a particular area which is known by the name GIFT IFSC, International Financial Services Center. Just like the Financial Services Center, which are located in multiple other countries, in multiple cities outside India, we have set up International Financial Services Center in Gandhinagar. It is basically a model of special economic zone. Whenever you read about special economic zone, you are generally focused on manufacturing, etc. But the GIFT IFSC, it's nothing but a SEZ itself. But the focus here is essentially on promoting financial products, financial services. For example, stock market, insurance, banking services, etc. And the object is very simple. We will provide lot of exemptions, will provide lot of relaxation associated with the rules as well as the guidelines, so that the foreign investors will be finding it very attractive to invest in this GIFT IFSC. Now, because we have insurance services, right, we have stock markets, we have banking services, we cannot have multiple regulators, right, basically regulating within GIFT IFSC. So instead of having multiple regulators, we have set up a unified regulator. And that is the reason, if you look at the composition of the IFSCA, you will realize that there is a representation from all the other regulators as well. Right? So the government of India passed the International Financial Services Centers Authority, right, Act, and we set up this particular authority in the year 2020. Act in 2019, authority in the year 20. It is a unified regulator. Look at the composition. Chairperson is there. One member each from RBI, SEBI, the IRDAI, as well as PFRDA. Two members from the Ministry of Finance, and other members are appointed by the government, right? Totaling not exceeding 9 members within this particular authority. The focus is very simple here: regulate and promote gift IFSC along with any other IFSCs that shall be established later. Its headquarters is located in the gift city, Gandhinagar, Gujarat, and it functions under the Ministry of Finance. Next important regulatory authority, Directorate General of Civil Aviation, DGCA. It is an attached office of Ministry of Civil Aviation. Please remember this. It is an attached office. The importance of DGCA is associated with ensuring safety in the civil aviation market. For example, whether the flights are fit for flying, whether the equipments are fit for flying, whether there is any risk that is being undertaken, whether the companies are following all the safety protocols or not, everything comes under the regulation of Directorate General for Civil or of Civil Aviation. Right? It deals with the safety issues. Any civil or any aviation, right? Let's say the services, whether the flights are within India, flights are from India, flights are to India, all of those, right? Any aspect associated with the safety comes under the regulatory purview of DGCA, right? It also functions with ICAO, International Civil Aviation Organization, coordinates with it and ensures the safety protocols are implemented in India. The powers the DGCA imposes, or let's say implements all of this, deriving its powers from Aircraft Act of 1934, specifically Section 5, 7, and 8 from the Act, and powers from Aircraft Rules 1937. It functions under the Ministry of Civil Aviation and the headquarter is located in New Delhi. Next, CERC, Central Electricity Regulatory Commission. It is established in the year 1988 under the Electricity Commission Act of 1998. I said established in 1998. Please make a correction. Okay, established in 1998 under the Act of 1998. Later, please understand the government of India implemented one more act, which is the most important act in the context of electricity sector in India. Electricity Act of 2003. So, under the section of Electricity Act, specifically under Section 76 of the Electricity Act, now CERC is covered. And the Electricity Act doesn't only provide for the Central Electricity Regulatory Commission, it also provides for State Electricity Regulatory Commission. So CERC, SERC, both of them under the Electricity Act currently. The composition is very simple. There is a chairperson and not more than 3 members. And what is the role of the CERC? The functions are associated with licensing, tariff regulation, grid regulation, electricity markets where the electricity is sold and purchased, etc. The headquarters is in New Delhi and it functions under the Ministry of Power. Next, Bureau of Indian Standards. This has been there in the newspaper for the last 1.5 years. Please be very careful. Bureau of Indian Standards, it initially was established under the Act of 1986. The government of India implemented one more act in the year 2016. So now BIS is under the BIS Act of 2016. Point number one. It functions under the Ministry of Consumer Affairs. It has 25 members. BIS has composition of 25 members. BIS is headquartered in New Delhi, but in addition to that, there are 5 regional offices. These are the 5 places where the 5 regional offices are set up. Please make a note. The Union Minister who is in charge of the Ministry of Consumer Affairs, Food and Public Distribution is also the President of BIS. And what is the function of BIS? What is the importance of BIS? BIS is a standard setting authority. Standard setting authority. It will set standards for any electronic products that you purchase from the market. For example, you want to purchase, let's say, AC. The standards associated with that, for example, the kind of, right, let's say the product certification, etc., all of them will be provided by BIS. You want to purchase gold, you will have come across all marking standards associated with the gold. It is also done by BIS. In many of the cases, the government of India will insist that the importer has to first get the certification from the BIS that this particular product which they want to import into India is meeting all the standards that has been set up by the BIS. Only and only then will the product be allowed to be imported. So multiple areas the BIS will provide the standards which have to be followed. The headquarter of BIS is set up in New Delhi, and as already mentioned, it functions under the Ministry of Consumer Affairs, Food and Public Distribution. Next, National Housing Bank, NHB, National Housing Bank, set up in the year 1988 with the passage of NHB Act in the year 1987. Initially, 100% was owned by Reserve Bank of India. It was a wholly owned subsidiary of Reserve Bank of India. And today, there are multiple subsidiaries of Reserve Bank of India, completely owned by RBI, by the way. For example, DICGC, Deposit Insurance and Credit Guarantee Corporation. RBI transferred its entire stake to Government of India in the year 29. What is the role of National Housing Bank? It is mainly involved in providing finance as well as refinance associated with the promotion of housing finance in India. Right, the headquarters is in New Delhi and it functions under the jurisdiction of Ministry of. Next, SIDBI, Small Industries Development Bank of India. Right, it was set up in the year 1990 with the passage of SIDBI Act of 1989. It started functioning by taking over some of the functions of IDBI. The government of India, over a period of time, has set up multiple organizations which have taken over functions of other organizations. So, this is one such example. This was basically a principal financial institution to promote the small scale industries. Earlier, we used to call these as small scale industries. Today, we don't use the term small scale. Instead, we use the term MSME, micro, small, medium enterprises. The government of India has implemented a bill which is in the form of act now. A separate ministry for MSME has been set up. So earlier we used to call small scale industries. Today we use the acronym micro, small, medium enterprises. The functions, direct as well as indirect lending associated with these entities. Micro lending is also provided. It will also provide aggregator services. That is, with the DFS, it has developed Stand Up Mitra, Udyam Mitra portal, etc. Now, for example, the subsidiaries of SIDBI. There is one subsidiary called as Mudra, Micro Units Development and Refinancing Agency. What is the importance of Mudra? It is involved in providing collateral free loans. Collateral free loans up to 20 lakh rupees. And I know some of you will be thinking, sir, it is not up to 20 lakh, it is up to 10 lakh. You are wrong. It is only 10 lakh rupees, not up to 20. Until recently, the three types of products which are provided by Mudra were Shishu, Kishore, and Tarun. And the maximum value of collateral free loan which is provided by Mudra, which is a subsidiary of SIDBI, was maximum 10 lakh rupees for micro and small enterprises. The government now has introduced one more category, Tarun Plus. With the introduction of this Tarun Plus category, now the collateral free loans has been extended up to 20 lakh rupees. So subsidiaries, Mudra, SIDBI Venture Capital, SIDBI Trustee Company, etc. In addition to this, there are also various associates of SIDBI. For example, there is a RXIL. You will have come across a concept called as TREDS. trade receivable e-discounting system. Under the trades, it will ensure that the receivables, right, that is, let's say an MSME has sold a product to a buyer, they will issue, right, let's say a receivable, that is a bill. Now this particular bill can be sold, right, so that the financing happens. For that, Reserve Bank of India has set up a trades platform. RXIL is basically nothing but, right, operates the MSME online trades. This has been, right, or this is one of the associates of SIDB. There is a credit guaranteed trust for micro and small enterprises, which will ensure credit guarantees up to certain percentage of the loans are provided, so that the loans can be issued at lower rate of interest for micro and small enterprises. There is also one more associate, TSB loans in 59 minutes. That is basically it is a platform where banks are registered. A borrower, instead of going from a bank to bank, can simply log on to this and apply for a loan. So these are some of the very important associates of SIDB. The headquarters of SIDB is located in Lucknow, and it functions under the jurisdiction of Ministry of Finance. Now the ownership of SIDB, please have a look at it. We have Government of India 20.85%, State Bank of India around 15%, LIC around 13, right? NABARD has around 9%, and there are other shareholders as well. Next important authority, NABFID. NABFID, National Bank for Financing Infrastructure Development. This was set up with the passage of an act by the Government of India. Right now, NABFID, 100% of it is owned by the Government of India. It has been set up as the latest development finance institution, which will provide long-term loans for the development of infrastructure projects. Right, so Government of India says right now it is 100% owned by me, but over a period of time, I want to reduce the ownership to 26. But anyways, set up under the Act of the Parliament 2021, it is regulated and supervised as all India financial institution under Section 45L and 45N of RBI Act of 1934. Right? It has the funds, basically, it has the funds by issuing bonds in the market. It will get the funds, right, by borrowing from other institutions, etc. But importantly, the functions, make a note of it. Functions are important. NABFID is, like I said, a DFI. It will promote financing of long-term infrastructure. It will attract the private sector investment into infrastructure. If there is a, right, basically issue associated with disputes, right, it will try to address these particular disputes, etc. The headquarter of NABFID is located in Mumbai, and it functions under Ministry of Finance. Next important authority, NABARD, National Bank for Agriculture and Rural Development. Right? The committee which gave the recommendation for the establishment or setting up NABARD is the committee B. Sivaraman Committee. The technical name for the committee is Committee to Review the Arrangements for Institutional Credit for Agriculture and Rural Development. Very lengthy name, headed by, right, B. Sivaraman, right, and this was set up by Reserve Bank of India. Right, based on this particular recommendation, the Government of India, basically this entity was set up in 1982 under the Act of 1981. Please have a look at the ownership. Initially, it was owned by the Government of India and RBI. Later, that is in the year 2010, the ownership completely has been transferred to Government of India. Right, and what is the importance of NABARD? Right, what is the importance of NABARD? NABARD mainly is involved in ensuring financing and refinancing activities which are associated with rural growth and development. For example, agriculture sector, right? Handicrafts. And in that particular context, cooperatives will come into picture. Cooperative banks will come into picture. Regional rural banks will come into picture. It is a refinancing institution, provides a short term, medium term, and refinance to state cooperative banks as well as RRBs. provides a long-term loans for the state governments. It will also act as a coordinating agency for rural development as well as credit planning. The headquarters is located in Mumbai and it functions under the Ministry of Finance. Now, last authority, Exim Bank, Export Import Bank of India. It was set up with the passage of Exim Act of 1981, right? And it started operations from the year 1982. It was set up to promote and facilitate foreign trade from India. Please understand, historically, the focus of the government of India has been on promoting more and more exports from India. Even if you take the foreign trade policy 2023, the government of India in that also is focused through various measures in ensuring that by 2030 we will be able to meet the total exports of $2 trillion. Right, so basically argument is we should be able to export more and more. Today we are somewhere in the range of 700 to 800 billion dollars. We should be able to meet merchandise plus services exports by 2030. In order to meet that, government of India has implemented multiple measures. But back in the past, government of India, in order to promote exports, has set up Exim Bank. Exim Bank's resources include money that is raised by issuing bonds, commercial papers, certificates of deposits, term loans, foreign currency bonds, etc. It is a principal financial institution which will focus on promotion by financing the participants in the market who are involved in exports. For example, have a look at this. Provides credit products for consultancy services. Indian companies will offer consultancy services. Indian companies will win bids for development of projects outside India. A foreign importer wants to purchase, let's say, machinery from India, etc. In all these particular cases, it will become easier to conduct the transactions, the development of infrastructure, etc. if financing facilities are there. In all these examples that I've mentioned just now, Exim Bank will be present. Exim Bank will provide the services. Right? So headquarters of Exim is present in Mumbai and it functions under the Ministry of Finance. The administrative ministry for Exim Bank is the Ministry of Finance. So these are the important regulatory authorities that you must go through if you are appearing for any kind of a competitive exams. I've covered exhaustively these kind of regulatory authorities. Focus on the important points. Do not simply focus on unnecessary things associated with all these regulatory authorities. So this is end of the discussion. If you have liked the session, do not forget to hit the like button. If you are yet to join our YouTube channel, kindly do it right now. Thank you. Have a great day.